Hello and welcome everyone to the OVRC. Welcome back for round 4 of season 4 of the GT3 ACC Series, and I am joined once again by Erwin.
Hello everyone.
And we join you at a surprisingly sunny Brands Hatch. Track in real life is mostly cloudy, especially when last time I went there. You joined us at the end of practice. And I think while doing so, we probably should run quickly through the standings right now. We've got 2 minutes left in the session.
Yep, so leading the Drivers' Championship right now is Mike Stoffman with 67 points, followed by Marcus Lawrence with 60. And in third is Matt Lynham Anderson with 51 points. In fourth is Mark Woodford, close behind with 48. Then in fifth we have Thomas Olsen with 43. Leading the team standings right now is PCDC Motorsports with 89 points, followed by PCDC Weissach with 82. In third is WMT Motorsports with 76. Then in fourth we have Virtual Drives by TX3 with 67. And then in fifth is Team Speedweed with 40. And as always, if you want to see the full standings, you can do so at the link in the description.
Thank you for that, Erwin. So, just in time for the start of qualifying, 15-minute session, as is a custom at this stage. Well, for our GT3 series in area, we've got quite a formula sorted at least now.
Who is the first out on track? Is it John Dalton?
It's John Dalton right now.
Wow, who would have guessed?
Yes, there's a bit of tyre warming to get his tyres up to temperature. Brands Hatch circuit, very short circuit, very fast track. Qualifying will matter a lot around here, and for the most part, the track position is the most important thing. Very hard to overtake it unless you've got some serious overspeed as such, really. You've got to have like quite a significant pace advantage to make it really work. John Dalton lets Lawrence go through, so Lawrence is now the leading car. Qualifying outlet right now. Hopefully he'll be a clear bit of track, but you know, still quite a busy grid. 26 cars as people are still leaving the pit lane as Lawrence goes through Sterling's. Tries to get a bit more temperature in as he will head down through the final corner now, and we'll begin his qualifying lap.
Yep, so we'll go on board with him.
Yep, so head up to Paddock Hill Bend, hard on the brakes here, get the car around. This is a very fast corner. Get as wide as possible without getting track limit. And hard again for the Druids. This hairpin. Good on one of the overtaking opportunity car people have. Followed by a quick sprint down to Graham Hill Bend. Again, watch the off track on the outside here. Very strict around that. Quick little sprint into Surtees. Now, on the GP route, so you keep going, eventually you get the power, and you get to not turn the wheel for a while as you go down this little straight here into Pilgrim's Drop underneath the bridge. Then through Hawthorne Bend, another fast right-hander, followed by another small little straight, and into Westfields. Cut as much as you can on entry. You go down another little drop to Dingledale. There used to be a chicane here, not anymore. Then another quick right, and then you go to the Sterlings. Watch the curve on the outside here will catch you off if you get used too much of it. Then you head once again into Clark to finish the lap. And that is a lap of Brands Hatch. Very quick circuit. So across the line now and set a 1:22.8.
John Dalton crosses the line behind and goes slower. 1.2 seconds slower specifically. Carlisle crossing the line now.
Grant Smith will be crossing the line and will put himself P2.6 off Lawrence's time.
Anderson about to cross the line. And he moves into P3 for now.
Nygaard. The line puts himself to P5, followed by Rowley. Wolf will become car home and move up to P7.
Joshua Devonshire and did not set a time. Let's have a look at Sebastian Brunier. Out there right now, getting pretty close to the line. And Lewis Grant Smith just went into 4th, so we have another Grant Smith this time around. As Sebastian is about to cross the line and goes into P6. And immediately drops down to P7.
He's got a bit more time in that car right now. Obviously traffic playing a part. Lance will cross the line again and will not extend his lead.
Dalton moves up to P4. And Jordan Wansink went into 3rd.
Softmill crossed the line and moves up to P4. Anderson now coming across, heading towards the start-finish line now. He's pushing P7, 0.4 up, and moves himself to P3.
Lila coming around the final corner now, currently in P9. And he is on a 4/10 improvement so far. Let's see where he will go. He will move up to P7.
Whitford P10, not a great lap for him. Devonshire P14. Glenning improving by 0.9 right now as they go through the final corner. So still a lot of time to be found. Track's a bit cooler than it was in practice. Looking across the line and improves his time. Still 6 more people to set a time.
John Dalton is about to cross the line currently, 2/10 up. And he moves up to P7.
Wansink moves to P2. A lot stronger Danish for the Aston Martins after Monza, which was I'll say a bloodbath at Monza. The Astons had no pace. So out seems things a bit closer. And Anderson moves to P2 in one of the Porsches. A few people are struggling to get track position right now. Grant Smith improving by 2/10. Lewis Grant Smith moving by half a second.
Yep, both Grant Smiths are pretty close to each other on track right now. Lewis about to cross the line. Yeah, he does improve up to P5. Jordan will go P6.
Fight between the Grant Smiths. Different cars. Interestingly. One's in the Ferrari. It's good to see a Ferrari up the pointy end of the field. It's been a while. Didn't see one of those up there.
Not really a lot of improvements happening out on track right now.
The top runners seems to be Grant Smith, but currently 2 cars improving.
Yep, Anderson is about to cross the line again. Doesn't seem to be improving. Does post a little bit of an improvement, but he will stay in P2 for now. Both the Grant Smith drivers are improving right now, although Jordan just lost a bunch of time. Lewis still improving though.
Whitford
behind
ahead.
One of the McLarens.
Whitford, you might be a little bit of toe. As that does lose a lot in the final corner. Not as much improvement as you'd like.
Lewis does not improve. Marcus Lawrence is back out there, improving by 1/10 so far.
Still 6 minutes to go, so still a bit of time to set some laps, given how quick the laps are. No real worry to get times out right now. As long as you're on track at this point, you should be able to set time. There's more a question of, can you get clean enough air, enough track space so you can actually push without having to risk getting hit, or in some cases hitting another car. There's a yellow flag out on the track that has cleared away.
Looks like it will be a small improvement for Marcus Lawrence. So he will extend his lead to 0.3 of a second.
There seems to be a few people still yet to set times right now. Currently 5 cars, yeah, 2 of them in the pit lane. So might want to get out and about now.
Kieran Grant-Smith moves up to P4. We look at Sebastian Brunner. He's currently down in P15. He's behind some traffic in a silver Aston Martin. Not quite sure who that is.
Crowley is in the Aston, the number 1 Aston Martin. Is he going to be holding up Sebastian or not? There's the question. I think he might be at this stage. Look how close Sebastian is to the back of that Aston. He's still improving a bit, but the Aston is on his own lap time, so there's not a lot Sebastian can really do. Just got to sort of sit behind and
yeah, he's lost his improvement now. And he's abandoning that lap. Trying to maybe form a bit more of a gap to have another attempt.
Well, it has to, you know, he got so close to the back of the Aston, he can't really make an overtake.
Devonshire about to cross the line and moves up to P11. We look at Mark Whitford coming on the final corner now. And Whitford moves up to P9.
If you keep up lots of position, it feels like right now, where you'd expect them to be higher. The 26 was stopped and returned to the pit lane. That is the course of Castro. John Dalton improving, Whitford improving, Aaliyah improving, Sebastian improving. Top end of people currently on improved lap times.
Dalton is about to cross the line, 2 tenths up. See where he will go. And he moves up to P8. Small improvement for Anderson right now.
Nygaard ahead in the Lexus.
He's also got Mark Whitford right behind him, who is also improving.
And he's aborted that lap, you saw on the brakes there, tiny bit.
Have a look at Whitford, who is about to cross the line now. And he will move on to P5. And Olila crossing the line next, 2 tenths up. Moves up to P10. Thomas Johnson abandoning his lap right now. Lewis Grant-Smith running over a piece of brake board there, I think. Robert Nygaard is on a bit of an improvement right now in P15.
So 1 minute 30. So you have to be out on track now, essentially, to have a lap time. Want to improve any further. Some people are now starting to return to the pit lane. My God,
Robert Nygaard moves up to P14. Max Stoffmel is into the pits. He's currently down in P8. That's not where we'd expect to see him.
If you looked at practice and looked at his qualifying result right now, it looks like it's going to be completely different drivers. Outside of essentially Lawrence being at the top of the field, not much, quite a lot has changed. So this just doesn't look like Stoffman's going to get a good set of laps together. Lewis Grant Smith currently improving by 5/10 right now, and then proceeds to go a bit wide. I lost a bit of time there. He definitely is pushing right now to see if he can move up.
Yep, he's the only one making any improvements out there right now, it seems.
Still 4/10 up, now heading to the final corner. Drops a bit of time there. As the checkered flag will be out. And he will move up to P2. So
Very well done for him on his first qualifying session in the OVRC.
Well, was a Grant Smith on pole last week. There is now a Grant Smith on the front row for now. Will anyone be able to challenge that? It so far does not look like it. We've got a bunch of people pulling off to the side now around the track and probably returning to the pit lane.
Yeah, just looking at Jordan Grant Smith right now, not improving so far, although actually just getting a bit of an improvement. So it looks like he could be overtaking Jordan Wansink, who is his time is very close to right now. So let's see what happens as he comes around the final corner now. And he will cross the line and stay in P5.
It does improve though. It doesn't improve enough.
Yeah, he only improved by a few hundredths of a second. John Dalton stays in P9, Sebastian Brunier going right the final corner now and pulling off into the pit lane.
So that is qualifying over. And it does look like Marcus Lawrence will take pole, followed by Lewis Grant Smith, Anderson, Wanzig, Grant Smith.
Yep, so now we get ready to start this race. Marcus Lawrence will be starting from pole. We've got the qualifying results up on the screen. Wanna have another look at that and see the sector times as well. Interestingly, Lewis Grant Smith was faster than Lawrence in sectors 1 and 2, but Lawrence was faster in sector 3.
Yeah, we only have one time penalty this time around from a carryover from Zolder. Yeah, there's quite a few people out of position where you normally expect them. I would like to comment, but I can't really see the positions right now due to the game bugging out on my end, so I can't see where anyone is in the position. I do it completely based on the visuals. But yeah, track position been matched a lot around here, so I feel like, I think this might be, outside some pit stop shenanigans going on, I feel like this might be sort of a very similar way we end. Depends how many people's race pace are though. If people have a dramatic improvement in race pace, you may see some moves up the field. There's currently 27 cars, so a bit of a small field in the last few rounds, but you know, it makes sense for a smaller track sometimes, so I don't think it's all bad yet. So 22 seconds until the rolling start will begin. Do you have any predictions before we get underway?
Well, hopefully we get a nice battle at the front. Marcus Lawrence was quite a bit faster than Lewis Grant Smith, but he was also slower in the first two sectors, so that could get interesting. Hopefully Lewis can get us a good fight. Also gonna keep an eye on Mike Stuffmill starting down in P8. Hopefully he can give us some nice battles to make his way back to the front, where we'd usually expect to see him.
We have 2 cars in the pit lane. We have Wanzig and Glenningen. I'm not entirely sure why they are there, especially Wanzig, who was P4.
Yeah, that's really strange.
We have an order mix-up going on right now, as Anderson's currently ahead of Grant Smith. A bit confused what's going on there, as there was some formation of that. Okay, so it has corrected itself, it seems. Yeah, a bit weird why that's gone on. I'm a bit confused what's going on with this formation like right now, because it does seem a bit out of order. We'll see once everyone starts moving alongside each other in a few moments. So now head through Dingledale now, the leaders. Lewis gets a bit loose there. So the cars will all start to go 2 by 2. Stop starting going on. Not really sure what's going on there, but it does seem that everyone but 2 pit lane starters are on track.
Yep, Lewis Grant Smith will be starting from P2, unlike what the leaderboard on the left is saying right now. Wonsing and Glendening seem to still be in the pit lane. Yes, they are.
They haven't seemed to retire. They're still pointing forward. They're not pointing in the retired position. As we go green, we are off. And good start by Lawrence there. There's a bit of change positions going on behind. As Lewis Grant Smith gets forced out very wide at the start and loses a bunch of spots. Everyone makes their way through Druids right now. So far, one of the Mercedes off the track there on the exit. As Wanzig and Glenning are both underway now, as James Butler's being turned around at Graham Hill, as everyone sort of struggles to get going again. Good getaway for Marcus Lawrence right now.
Yep, bad getaway for Lewis Grant Smith, who was dropped all the way down to P7. Currently ahead of John Dalton, who was fighting just a little bit earlier.
Ted Murray's hell mistake at 30s. They are dropped down the order a bit further, but they're already fairly far down the order, so not much for them has been lost apart from a bit of time and pride.
Yep, as Marcus Lawrence is already almost 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. And Jordan Grant Smith is in a very close fight with Anderson and Jansen.
Yeah, so the fight for the podium spots is really where it seems to be right now, as you said, Lawrence bolted up the field. Glenning's going to move Zed Murray down turn 1 at the back of the field as there's 2 cars off. That's Wanzig and Ederson. I'm not entirely sure what happened there.
See what happened there. We're looking at Wansink.
Zed Murray and Glenning have also had a collision at Druids as well, so...
Just looking at Wansink right now. He's behind the yellow Ferrari as they go into turn 1. And oh, they touch and they both get spun around and into the barrier on the outside.
That's 2 pit lane starters having trouble in like 2 corners apart as... Ooh dear, Stoffel gets very loose there. Indeed, that Sheen curve. Too much curve and the castle starts to dance around a bit. He keeps pointing forward, but has allowed Lewis Grant Smith to close up right to the back of him. Let's now head down. You start, finish. So far the pack is very close to each other right now as Bastion looks a bit under threat from here down in P9, but looks like the general case of sort of no real chance to overtake around the circuit. As I was saying before, got to have a lot more pace in the car ahead if you want a chance of getting past. As Jansen goes very wide and loses a bunch of spots as Lewis Grant Smith goes into the gravel trap to avoid Jansen. Does get back underway, but that's losing out a ton more spots as well. Not entirely sure what Jansen was doing.
Lewis Grant Smith dropping all the way down to P14 because of that. This is a disaster start to the race for him after starting from P2.
His brother's very happy, you know. In simple rivaling terms, he's probably over the moon. Currently, right now, as he's down, still only up to P3 off the start, and has gapped Mark Whitford a bit, who's got Stoffmill behind. Jansen seems to have a bit of marks on one side of his car, so I'm wondering if he had a bit of contact or something along those lines. As Lewis Grant Smith pushing a bit too hard now, they've passed Sam Williams. He's probably looking to make some moves up as quick as possible right now.
As we look to Tom Sanson and John Dalton fighting right now.
Devonshire's under a lot of pressure by Julio right now in the Mercedes. A bit of flashing of the lights a bit earlier.
Dalton is right behind Jensen on the main straight. Let's see what they do into turn 1. Is he going to try it? Dalton, oh!
Bit of contact there. Late move there by Dalton. I'm not entirely sure Dalton who went straight and who put into each other, but has lost Dalton quite a few spots as well. Now he's dropped all the way behind Falkenstein down in P17.
16,
17. The trend is emerging right now as Jansen is down the pressure from Devonshire. He's lost a few positions right now. It's just so hard to make an overtake here, but also you'll be very careful about defending because it's very easy just to, have all the corners here are very quick. There's no sort of slow, methodical 90-degree hairpin, whatever. It's all quite a lot of fast corners, so you've got to be quite committed, and you've got to trust the other driver quite a bit.
Oh, Devonshire gets spun around.
Who was that by?
What's happened there? He's getting chased by the Mercedes. I don't know. Oh, no, he doesn't get hit by the Mercedes. He just goes off into the grass and spins it on his own. Will drop all the way down to P21.
Ooh. That's unfortunate for him, after being collected very early on last race. Again, another mistake cost him time as he enters the pit lane and a bit too quick into the pit lane. Nice there.
Yeah, let's look at a replay of that. And
Anderson
hits the barrier.
Anderson is chilling on the edge of Graham Hill Bend.
What's happened there? Catch a replay of that. And he suddenly just stops turning.
Has he got a hardware issue?
That would be the most obvious thing, if he had a wheel issue. He just suddenly went straight on.
Has allowed Grant Smith to have a bit of free air now.
And Anderson has retired from the race.
There has to be a wheel failure. He was on his own, it can't. Castro, Williams, and all that lot currently fighting right now. Going for start finish. Dalton's just behind, making a move on Falkenstein now down the start finish straight. Slots in behind Williams and the other McLaren. And Willie tried to make the double move. No, he doesn't. Falkenstein gets out of the way. Dalton moves up a position. And now looks down the inside of Williams right now. So he's looking to make amends for his contact with Jansen earlier. As we have another car in the pit lane, that's Wanzig in the pit lane now. So Devonshire's made his pit stop. He's the first car to do that. Wanzig is probably the next car to do such a thing.
Yep, looks like he has damage on the front end of his car.
That'll be from the contact with Benderson, I believe it was. And I I'm not quite sure what happened with the back markers of the other cars there for the pit lane starters, if who was actually at fault there. I unfortunately missed it.
And Dalton still chasing Sam Williams.
Grant Smith's got past Nygaard. So he's moved up to P9 and on his way up the field as he's going to be chasing down Julio again.
And by that we mean Lewis Grant Smith.
Lewis Grant Smith,
To clarify.
Two of them. The Ferrari. As he goes a bit wide there. And pushing quite hard, it seems, to try and make up lost time. And unfortunately for him, it's been sort of avoiding errors by other people cost him a lot of time there. I'm still a bit confused what happened with Jansen. Jansen was just all over the place and somewhat caused a lot of issues as Devonshire's on the back of Rowley and is trying to make his way through and passes the car pass. So he's currently a lap down, but he's trying to make his way back up.
Wanzig is also back out of the pits. We look towards Sam Williams. fighting with Michael Castro ahead of him and John Dalton behind him. He's got a lot on his mind right now.
Yeah, I think.
Also seems like in the fight for the top 3, Mark Whitford has caught up a bit to Jordan Grant-Smith in the previous lap. As we hear in the YouTube chat from Matt Lynham Anderson, confirming that it was the steering wheel suddenly turning off, and then on a restart the force feedback didn't work.
That is a shame. Anderson's running a P2, and that's like the worst way to go out. It's like outside your control. It's like you could have done anything better. Your wheels are like, nah, I'm head out.
Yeah, that's a real shame.
I think ACC is known to not like turning devices on mid-game. So it's like, yeah, unfortunately. Broly is exiting the pit lane now after doing a pit stop. Where they'll filter out. Obviously, they don't have any damage to repair. They might be still out ahead of Devonshire and Wozzik.
Whitford's really starting to catch up to Grant-Smith now. You can see he's right behind Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's losing a bit of time to Lawrence as well, so might be struggling a bit with pace. Probably getting out of the way as Haile and Bunia come through. And then there's the Janssen pack with Julia and Lewis Grant-Smith lurking behind those two. As John Dalton, we missed it actually. John Dalton got past Williams in that last lap. So he's moved himself back up to P12. We'll possibly try and make a move on to Castro very shortly. Looks to go down Dingledale. It's not really any place you can go there, Dalton. But he's looking very pushy indeed to make this move happen in the next few corners if possible. Definitely has the pace advantage. So he's looked into Graham Hill. He looks down it. He goes a bit on the grass, tries to make it happen. Doesn't work, gets touched by Williams and loses it. Yes. Another
So what
bit of
happened there?
Dalton, and then
yeah. That was contact on the rear end, spinning him around. He drops down to P17. This race not going Dalton's way.
He catches the grass a bit, and I think he slows down, and Williams just sort of, I don't know, doesn't react, doesn't know what to do. No, this is a bit optimistic there by Williams' part. I'm just looking back at the replay.
So we are looking at Sebastian Bernier being chased down by Msic Haila. This has been going for a while now. Mark Whitford also still catching up to Jordan Grant-Smith.
The issue with Whitford right now is stuck in a little gap where he's not got quite enough speed to make the pass, but it's just Grant-Smith is just enough in the way to be a issue. The issue Hyla's having right now with Sebastian.
To go for a little onboard with Mark Whitford. He was 2 tenths faster than Jordan on the previous lap.
Wolkenstein looking for a move on Castro into Surtees and alongside him down the straight. It's the kind of fight for P10. Gerlander's just hanging in behind these two. Wolkenstein around the outside and will struggle to keep the car on track, it looks like, as he's onto the grass a bit. Castro then, Gerlander's looking down a move, and Gerlander gets ahead of Wolkenstein. Wolkenstein tries to make the move happen and then loses out because of it. Some drivers being looking for opportunities right now. Best thing they can do, really. I don't remember Lewis Grant Smith being P17. Was it just me?
Did drop down quite a bit, but I don't think he was in P17 until recently. Yeah, his last lap was a 147.9, so he lost 20 seconds in the previous lap.
I'll go hunt for that.
Brunier and Hyla side by side now, although Hyla doesn't really look sure what to do right now. As there seems to be some connection issues going on, at least on my end right now.
Oh, Lewis just loses on his own down towards Graham Hill. And that's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, it looks like those connection issues were just on my end, so that's why you see the cars moving around a little bit strangely. But it seems to have fixed itself now. As Hyla is into the pits.
He's going to probably try the undercut. But you can have to try and do around here, just to find some clear air. And again, people are struggling to get past each other right now. Oh, you're still stuck behind Janssen. Gerlander is now the car trying to get past Castro. Williams is looking at Wolkenstein right now. Whitford's still stuck behind Whitford. Oh. Whitford is still stuck behind Grant Smith, the other Grant Smith. As Erdmann gets ahead of Damien Lowe. The fight for P17. So 40 minutes to go in the race.
As we look at our leader, Marcus Lawrence, who is currently 6.2 seconds ahead of Jordan Grant Smith in P2. And then in P3 we have Mark Whitford, only half a second behind Jordan Grant Smith. And then we have Mike Stoffmill and Sebastian Brunier making up the top 5.
And we're still looking at the back of Astro right now. Like anything happen?
Sebastian Erdmann is into the pits. And we'll have to serve a 15-second penalty for an incident in the previous race.
And this one's older because he had a race ban from the previous race so he missed out Monza, which means his penalty carries forward to this race. He'll be stuck in the pit lane for quite a while. The Hyla currently is 10-second gap ahead of him, so he's got tons of clean air right now.
Is there's an incident between Gerlander and Castro. See what happened there. And Castro tries to take the corner and Gerlander was there. They bump into each other. As Gerlander has now gotten ahead of Castro, but they have lost a lot of positions.
One zig behind them, who I believe is a lap down.
Yep, Onzink is a lap down.
Oh yeah, Castro just turns into Gerlander there a bit. As Gerlander enters the pit lane. One who goes around the outside of Castro and who tries to turn his way to unlap himself after his race fairly early on got a bit destroyed. A few
Lewis
more
Brown Smith is closing up to Adam Wolf.
little mistakes and clumsy errors right now, costing people a lot of time around here. So to get another result there, as Lewis goes down the inside, of Wolf down the the other straight, and we'll just make a clean move ahead and moves up P13. As one of the Astons goes off, the number 1 goes off the track as the fight for P10 comes through. Dalton's ahead of Williams this time. He's going to go at Falkenstein. Jansen's close up to the back of Sebastian, so Sebastian's either losing a bit of time right now or had a mistake. Whitford's still right behind Jordan Smith. They're approaching a back marker. Verson in the yellow Ferrari has yet to pit.
So Lila is into the pits.
I guess you try to get the cut on the Jansen as well, as the back marker is somewhat in the middle of the fight between the P2. P3 does get out of the way though. Will Elia be into clean air when he exits? He's yet to finish his tyre change. Sebastian seems to be losing a lot of time right now, so Sebastian might be having an issue. Either that or Jansen's just picked up the pace from somewhere, as Ellington's back in the pit lane once again.
Yep, he had not done his mandatory tire stop yet. So Lila is back out of the pits and has dropped down to P17.
Track is so short around here, you lose a ton of positions and you get a lap down in some cases, as we have another car in the pit lane. That is Erdson. So they enter the pit lane now for their stop.
No, that's fine. Thinking turning around system maybe going a little bit wide there, but it was okay.
John Dalton dives into the pit lane now.
Yep. As Whitford is right behind Grant Smith on the back straight. They are side by side.
Grant Smith with the inside, going to the next corner. Will he keep it? Whitford goes a long way around. Now they're gonna. Whitford does get ahead. They'll head down into Dingledell. They keep the position to Sheen. Grant Smith looking a tiny bit. A few more cars start to enter the pit lane as well. We have number 515. That is Damien Lowe.
Still close together on the straight.
Whipping around the outside, but Grant Smith will have the inside line heading into Paddock Hill. Whipping will have the inside down to George. Now a back marker once again in front of them. It's the same one. Very close to touching there between the two. They both go very wide. Back marker's trying to indicate to get out of the way as much as possible. He's like, away at 30s and lets these two through. The more these two fight, the more time they're losing to the leader, but Lawrence is having a cruise out in front. As the 26 is in the pit lane now of Castro. A few more people making their pit stops.
Yeah, John Dalton having dropped down to P16 after his pit stop.
Cycle going on. It should hopefully normalize all the positions and we know exactly where people are.
Here we look at Falkenstein and Williams still having a close fight.
Whitford's in the pits.
They've got the back marker of Devonshire behind them as well, as indeed Whitford is into the pit lane.
Grant Smith decides to pull the trigger, and probably not that long now, given it's nearly halfway, and the tyres will be equal now.
Robert Nygaard is also into the pits.
As Falkenstein pulls into the pit lane now. That's that fight over, and Devonshire's looking to have a go at Williams now.
We are looking at Tom Sanson still right behind Sebastian Brunier. I think that's John Dalton ahead of them. As Mark Whitford is about to get out of the pit lane. And will rejoin in P10.
Just ahead of Hyler though. Hyler's been closing that gap down. Hyler is not that far behind Whitford, so see what Hyler can do. Nygaard gets up to speed now. As Grant Smith's now in the pit lane. So Grant Smith will now making a stop, and the question is, will he be ahead as Sebastian and Janssen are both in the pit lane as well? That fight will continue in the lane.
Yep, Falkenstein is back out. So I guess we'll just keep an eye on the pit lane right now. Thomas Jansen is all the way at the back of the pit lane. So closest to the exit. As Jordan Grant Smith gets back underway.
Damien Lowe's currently in the way of Whitford and Hyler as they head through the final corner now.
Sebastian Brunier gets back underway. Let's see what happens to Thomas Jansen. And Brunier is quite a bit ahead of Jansen.
Doing quite a bit ahead. Jordan Grant Smith is quite a bit ahead of Whitford. That seems like a slow stop for Whitford there, and Hyler's now trying to make a move at him going down the hill.
The leader is pitting now.
Stoffman will inherit the lead. It'll be the first time he's led this race. If he can do anything right now. It's not really got the pace this time out at Brands Hatch.
And Brunier and Jansen actually have Olila in between them as well. And Jensen has a back marker ahead of him as well.
So 4 cars yet to pit. That's Stoffmill, Williams, Lewis Grant Smith, and Adam Wolf. All the cars
Lewis
yet
is into the pits. As Marcus Lawrence is about to get back out of the pits. And he will drop down to P3. Behind Mike Stoffmill and Sam Williams.
And more importantly, ahead of Grant Smith and Whitford. As earlier making a move on Sebastian, now down the inside. I'll start finish straight. We'll have the inside line going into turn 1. Sebastian looks down the inside. And there's a bit of contact there as earlier goes around. Sebastian waits up. Bit of chopping and turning as Jansen slips through. Jansen will take the inside line going into Druids and will take the position of both of them.
Lewis Grant Smith gets back underway.
Quite a big gap to those in front of him, so he's got his work cut out.
Up down to P13. Jordan Grant Smith has gotten quite far ahead of Mark Whitford during these pit stops, 2.2 seconds ahead right now.
And they're both gapping
Whitford
higher
has some
as well.
catching up to do. Adam Wolf is into the pits.
Furthest behind Jansen right now. Stoffmill's into the pit lane now. Means that Sam Williams will be the only car yet to pit now. At this stage with 25 minutes to go.
Here we have Sam Williams, Natasha Devonshire, and right behind him, and Devonshire is a lap behind. Sam Williams pulls into the pit lane, and so that will be all our scheduled pit stops done.
Lawrence now gets past Wanzig, who unfortunately has had a bit of a bad race for him right now. He's catching P19.
Mike Stoffmill gets back underway. Let's see where he will end up.
Oh, Sebastian's
Looks like
got
it's
ahead
going
of-
to be P5 for Stoffmill.
About where he was before.
And I think he was in P4 when he
but
made
Hyler
that
pitted
stop.
early. I think Hyler being out of position somewhat changed everything. Sebastian's got ahead of Ulia. Ulia? Over the last lap.
Yep, Sam Williams gets back underway as well.
Looks like he'll slot in ahead of Lewis.
P11 for Sam.
And that means now everyone has completed their mandatory pit stop. And it's now just a race to the end.
As Mark Whitford has got back up to Jordan Grant Smith.
Looks like that pace he lacked initially has come back to him after a few laps. I think things are calmed down a tad right now, as there's a good old cars dealing with traffic right now. Astro currently chasing down Gerlander. He's doing also Whitford chasing down Grant Smith. The field though fairly spread out at this stage. Apparently all the cars up to what P16 have been lapped. If you want to know that. Lawrence is still very much setting the pace right now. And it's done so pretty unchallenged the whole race.
Castro and Gerlander are side by side.
Looks like Castro just slipped ahead of him going to 30s.
Back to Grant Smith and Whitford. They're still very close. Grant Smith a couple times faster previous lap.
Bonzig currently behind Adam Wolf. Way down P18. There's another car's in the pit. That's Rowley in the pit lane. Didn't even notice they were there. They're a few laps down now, so not sure what's going on there as they are underway.
Bonzig goes down the inside of Adam Wolf. That was a very clean, easy move for him there. Moves up to P18. Look at Olila getting chased down by Sebastian Brunier. Wilson seems to be pretty far ahead of them at the moment. Few seconds gap between them, 4.2 seconds apparently.
Yeah, he somewhat managed to keep the pace going, I feel like. Even though the other two cars can't quite keep up. Well, I just realised that the fight between Julio and Sebastian is the fight of the triple digits. Julio is 888 and Sebastian is 777. Just a random fact for you, know. Just like slowly pulling away from Sebastian right now. Let's see if he can close the gap down to Janssen. See if Sebastian can try and catch up again.
And Whitford trying to get past Grant Smith around the outside. That's not gonna work.
Not around there anyway. He's got right behind though. And goes very wide. Very hill. He's looking. Not easy right now to really make these moves. This is the current fight for P2, which is the 2 podium spots. The closest current high is 4.5 seconds behind. So, current situation of the field is that everyone's fairly spread out. I have the track map. I can look at the track map right now, and it's just gaps. Everyone's always got their own clean air right now, so it's very much a case of people just setting in lap times, seeing where they can, you know, if they can close the gap to anyone. Really, largest gap currently is 8 seconds in the looks of things. It's Carlisle to Lewis Grant Smith. And that Williams has dropped to 9 seconds over Dalton. Dalton himself is trying to catch up to Sebastian. After having a few incidents himself. I do wish the relative would update a bit more frequently.
Yeah.
Gaps where you have nothing. It's like, where is he? Somewhere
Yeah,
close
it's
together.
a bit annoying that it doesn't update as often as we'd like it to. Not sure why that's a thing.
Right, it's got it just using like a real tractor points where, you know, you have the real life timing beams.
Yeah, I just don't really get why you do that in the game.
Realism, immersion, accuracy. The Whitfield Grant Smith, Whitfield's dropped off a bit from Grant Smith, so
Yeah, they're about to run into a back marker. That's the Aston Martins. I think that is, yep. No, that is not Liam Carlisle, it's Adam Wolf.
get the right Adam. Devonshire's closing the gap onto Glenningham down in P16 right now. These two cars had issues very early on and trying to make their way back. It seems to be some drivers just seem to attract issues, like Devonshire, Glenningham.
As we see Grant Smith and Woodford getting past Adam Wolf.
They make their way past and continue their little fight. Lawrence, meanwhile, is just cruising. You know, it's just one of these races for him right now. You know, it seems that occasionally you have a race where the top driver just has such an advantage where they're sort of just cruising around. I mean, that last time with Grant Smith, he was leading for the majority of the race. I think it was first race of the season was very much, you know, Stoffmill walking away with it. Castro's off the track there. Not sure what really happened there. He's back underway again.
Let's see what happens. See, we can still catch it on the replay. Oh, he's just lost it on his own. Snap of oversteer, it seems, and off into the gravel. Didn't seem to hit the barrier, fortunately. And he gets back underway.
Gerland is right behind Carlisle right now in fight for P13. Getting behind him for the last lap in a bit. A bit of a pace advantage to the Aston right now. Devonshire's got past Glenningham. Still trying to keep up with Devonshire right now, but Honda seems to lack a bit of straight line speed as Williams has caused a yellow flag and is back underway. Not entirely sure what happened there.
See, we can catch on the replay what happened. And yep, rear tire into the grass and spun around.
Don't touch the grass. It is not your friend.
Bit of a sketchy rejoin there with Lewis Grant Smith getting past, but that went alright.
Lance just gets past Erlander, which doesn't mean that the gap between him and Carlisle opens up a bit. Wanzig is closing the back of Glenningen, who is still somewhat hovering with Devonshire right now, so... And they're going to have the top 2 come through behind them. I mean, it's not top 2, the top P2, P3. These guys are going to be a bit careful.
People fighting for P2.
Yeah. And the issue for these guys is they're all fighting for their position. We want to lead P2 and P3 are coming through, so, you know, both sides have got to be somewhat respectful to each other right now. Both of them will have their own little races they want to do, and, you know, don't want to be losing too much time to each other. Grant Smith, let's see how pushy he will be right now as Wanzig gets on the brakes and on the indicator and allows Grant Smith and just about through. I mean, he got a bit. I think he was hoping that would be a bit further ahead of where he was. That has mean that as Gerlander gets to move on to Carlisle down into Paddock Hill and makes the move there. Just caught the end of that as Wanzig now has a bit of a gap to Glenningen, who is getting passed by Whitford. He's already let Grant Smith through as he gets on the indicator and pulls out the way. A bit careful, Wanzig coming through, but does hold him off. A little bit chaotic in this little bit here. Stuff Mills closed right up to the back of the higher. So he's looking to try and get P4 at least to recover that from this race.
Yep, our championship leader. Looks like he might... Oh! Hyla gets a drive-through penalty.
A bit too much corner cutting, it does seem. I told you in the qualifying on board that Graham Hill has a nasty off-track. I think a bit too many drivers abusing that as Hyla pulls out of the way to let Stockmill through. I think he sort of admitted that, you know, there's no real point fighting Stockmill if I've got a drive-through penalty. Stockmill will obviously know that he's got a drive-through penalty as well. And Nygaard's got ahead of Sebastian at some point over the last few laps. There's so much stuff going on now. I just missed what's going on. Wanzig is currently still chasing Glenningen as well towards the end of the race now. Under 10 minutes to go. Not a lot of time left. As Hyla head immediately straight into the pit lane. He might lose position to Janssen. And possibly Ulia. That's not entirely sure, but Janssen goes past, and Ulia will be the next car to head past as well. Might lose position as well to Sebastian as well, so that's a bit disastrous. He gets up to speed again.
Looks like he will drop in behind Robert Nygaard.
Just ahead of Sebastian there, so a bit closer, and immediately goes onto the attack onto Nygaard. Not quite really close enough to make the move, but, you know, his intent is there. He wants to get back past Nygaard as quick as possible and try and make his way back to the order. These last closing phases of this race. Castro's behind Carlisle right now. The battle for P7 is definitely on right now. Nygaard leading up by Hyla and Sebastian. Sebastian Bruni, that is. There's technically another Sebastian in the race. Don't want to say technically another Sebastian. There is another Sebastian in the race. He's only technically a Sebastian, you know. He's not the first Sebastian. As the 33's in the pit lane, that is Erson. I don't know exactly why he's in the lane.
I'm not sure either. Look at Hyla once again, getting chased down by Sebastian Brunier. He's right behind now on the back straight. Is he gonna try to make the move around the outside? So we get a bit of weird networking issues from my end again. Excuse the cars right strangely sliding around the track.
Ooh, Castro goes around the outside of the car line, heads straight into the gravel trap. There. That's my favourite corner. I mean, at Paddock Hill.
Yeah, looks like
maybe too much speed.
Yeah, carrying too much speed into there.
Anyway, what was going on? Oh yeah, it's a fight for P8. As Nygaard somewhat running away right now. Sebastian's looking down the inside into Paddock Hill. Can he do what Castro could not? Well, he stays on the track, but doesn't make the move. Hyla goes defensive now into Druids.
Here on the back straight once again. Will Brunier get another opportunity into the next turn? Has a look down the inside but can't make it.
Looking at the back of Hyla right now, looks around the outside. Can't really go around. Tries to make the cut back happen. Does he have momentum? He doesn't have momentum to keep going. We'll have the inside now into Druids. They make it work. Hyla goes very close. A bit of door banging there, but Sebastian.
Ooh.
What?
What?
Hyla just goes off the track, and then
yeah, he suddenly veers off to the right. And he was steering to the left, so I think... And he's now disconnected, so I think that may have been some weird netcode going on there.
Look at this, it's small tabs, and it's all just... bizarre.
I'm gonna say that's most likely netcode.
Castro going down the inside of Carlisle into Paddock Hill. And this time does not go into the trip into the beach and stays on the track.
Yep. Now on the fight for P2. Got a bit more of a gap now, over a second between Jordan Grantsmith and Mark Whitford.
So trying to close down onto Castro right now.
There's a car off into the grass. One of the Mercedes. They were just lapping right now. I can't tell who that was.
Adam Wolf is somewhat hanging over Glenning right now. 2 minutes to go.
Let's see where our leader Marcus Lawrence currently is on track. Like he's about to lap one of the McLarens. I think that's Sam Williams.
Yep, Sam Williams number 22.
And it looks like he's not going to be starting the final lap just yet, so we'll get one more lap after the one that is about to start, so 2 more laps.
Yeah, so not long now, 1 minute 40. So yeah, it's definitely next time by one more lap, actually. Depends how quick it is. Wolf looks down around the outside of Glenning in there. Glenning's definitely struggling a bit with pace right now. As the Aston pulls alongside into the final corner, Glenning will hold the inside line and keep that. Wolf will try and make a comeback though in the slipstream. We'll have to back out of it before trying to make anything happen. Looking for a possible move opportunity, but not really finding any. Yeah, Wanzig is behind Carlisle. Trying to make a move soon as well, so quite a few little fights going at the low end of the field anyway right now towards the end of the race.
Gap between Gunsmith and Whitford is 1.8 seconds now, so that fight seems to be over. As our leader has just started the final lap.
One last chance for a lot of these guys to try and make a move happen. It's now or never, as they say. As Wansley's looking around the outside, Chip Carlisle keeps the racing line. Very close indeed. As the white flag will be out. No white flag in European, but America would be a white flag.
Nygaard is still close behind O'Lila as they just started their final lap. Doesn't look like Nygaard is really going to be able to close up enough to try and overtake this lap though, but we'll have to see. .3 seconds between Jordan Gunsmith and Mark Whitford now.
That gap is very clear. As Lawrence will cross the line now and will take victory at round 4 for the second time this season. Marcus Lawrence takes the checker flag. Gunsmith will be P2 coming home across the line now. After getting P1 at Monza, gets a P2 at Brands Hatch. Mark Whitford P3. Stoffel not along behind them in P4.
Thomas Jansen about to come home in P5. He has actually done a full race this time, so that's great to see.
Yeah, P5, good result for him after not racing for quite a bit. Lilo come home P6.
Nygaard P7. Will be Sebastian Brunier crossing the line next in P8. And John Dalton coming up in P9.
Bit of a recovery drive for him. He's recovered all right. Unfortunately, the real loser of that race has been Lawrence Grant-Smith, who finishes P10 after starting on the front row.
Yeah, that's a real shame for him. His first race in the OVRC not working out as he would have hoped. After such a strong qualifying as well.
Yeah. So Marcus Lawrence, Grant-Smith and Whitford are your top 3. Stoffmill, Janssen, Earlier, Nygaard, Brunier, Dalton and Grant-Smith are your top 10. And that has been Brands Hatch. I don't think many cars actually finished. I think only the top 20 cars actually finished that race, so not a great amount of cars actually got to the end. A few incidents along the way as well, so yeah, we lost Hyler. He doesn't actually go. Maybe he did drive around. Maybe he's pitted and then drove around towards the end to count the point. Rowley went, Falkenstein, Anderson, Murray, Butler, and Milliot. A lot of those were like technical issues, really. But anyway, that has been Brands Hatch. Hope everyone who was there watching enjoyed it.
Yep, I thought it was quite an enjoyable race. No big incidents this time around, it seems. I mean, there were a few incidents, but not the huge ones we've seen certain other races. And a lot of close racing to enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, we would really appreciate it if you could press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to catch our upcoming races. We will be back next week at Paul Ricard.
I heard a rumor it might be wet.
Ooh, now that would be interesting.
Miles
I guess you're
down.
gonna have to tune in next week to find out.
And until then, yeah, stay safe.
Yeah, and goodbye.